Hello everyone. Let's start the session. Okay, so good afternoon everyone. My name is Mehersar and I'm a part of the CloudThat team here at IoT. So let's start off by giving everyone an idea of who we at CloudThat are. CloudThat is a training and consulting company. We were founded in the year 2012. Over the last 6 years, we've trained more than 7,000 plus participants. We at CloudThat have a dynamic team of certified professionals. We have a robust consulting division that complements our training. We have a global presence in the consulting and training market. Now let me give everyone a brief idea of who our speaker for the day is. Mr. Arzan Amaria. Arzan has 9+ years of experience in cloud, IoT, data science and Microsoft infrastructure technology stack. He has great amount of experience deploying cloud-based solutions. He is a multi-cloud professional with exposure to cloud technologies like Azure, AWS and other IoT cloud platforms like GE Predix and IBM Watson. He is a solution architect at CloudThat and he is an expert at deploying, supporting and managing client infrastructures on Azure. He runs a R&D team for CloudThat. He is involved and engaged in extensive R&D in the field of IoT and data science. He has designed our company's first ever product, which is called Smart Desk. It will be launched early next month. He has provided trainings to various companies like Target, Wipro, HP, HCL, Infosys, to name a few. So now let me hand over all the proceedings to our speaker for the day, Mr. Arzan Amaria.
Good afternoon, everyone. IoT, as we know, is a very niche technology, or rather it's a very niche field where a lot of technologies are engaged. Many of the technologies we are already using since years, something like networking, hardware, electronics, programming. And then there are a couple of new application-based technologies which are coming up, like new sensor technologies, AR, VR, machine learning, and a couple of other things which are engaged. So overall, when we build some kind of a smart solution to get some advantage out of technologies, we use IoT. So there are a lot of technologies which builds up together to create an IoT solution, and that's why we are in the digitalization era. So I will give you a brief introduction on what is IoT, because there will be a lot of participants connected over here who might be very new to IoT, or they have just heard about the term called IoT. So let me be very comprehensive over here, that IoT stands for Internet of Things, which is the term known by everyone in the world, whoever is related to technology. But then there are other terms as well, like IoE, which is known as Internet of Everything, or it is also known as Industry 4.0 till certain extent. Though the objectives of all these technologies could be a little bit different, but overall they are trying to talk about the same digitalization era. So you can define IoT as a system of interrelated things. And those things could be anything like computing devices, it could be your industrial based mechanical devices, digital machines like your payment machines, or it could be any kind of objects or animals or people or anything. All right, it could be anything what you can see. It could be a wallet, it could be your fan, AC, it could be fridge, it could be your car, it can be anything. Everything and anything is a part of IoT. So in IoT, we provide the unique identity to every single thing, and we provide the ability to transfer useful information related to certain objects or scenarios without needing a lot of human to human or human to computer kind of interaction. So Internet of Things have been into development for decades, but then the concept basically wasn't clear till 1999. Since then, very few people started knowing what is IoT. In fact, in recent times, I went through an article where it was written that still 87% of the people on this planet doesn't even know the term IoT. The first internet appliance which was created is known to be a machine, a Coke machine, which was created by Carnegie Mellon University in the early 1980s. And after this term called IoT was coined, some of the historians said that if you want, you can go ahead and put up this example of a Coke machine as the first IoT device ever in that era. So this machine was kept to understand how exactly the cold drinks are being utilized and whether they are maintained at the right quality or not. So there were temperature sensors inside which was constantly sending information related to the temperature, and as and when required, the person had to manually come in and change the temperature of the freezer, right? But then today all these things have been automated till a large extent. At that point of time, it was only some kind of temperature monitoring system which was built on some kind of a network. So anyone who is going to be a part of the IoT ecosystem should know that we are going through the fourth industrial revolution. And this industrial revolution is all about the cyber physical systems. So if you can see here, we had the first industrial revolution when mechanization period came into picture, when the steam engine was invented. At that point of time, we started utilizing that engine as a part of a few of the industries, and also we started using it as a mode of transport, where the first railway steam engine came into picture. And that's when we considered that to be an industrial revolution. The second industrial revolution came into picture when we started utilizing electricity for mass production. And that's where our manufacturing capabilities went up to a next level. Then in recent times, we had the third industrial revolution where the computer and automation took place. And instead of maintaining all the information manually, we started using digital systems. We stepped into the era of smartphones. We stepped into the era of computers, and every crucial industry like banking, healthcare, insurance, everyone started using a lot of digital technologies. And that was the third one. And now we are going through, or rather I can say we are in the initial phase of the fourth industrial revolution, which is known as cyber physical systems. So the main objective behind learning IoT for anyone is to be able to design, construct, deploy, manage, monitor some kind of a cyber physical system. All right. So a cyber physical system is anything which has some kind of a microcontroller or microprocessor device connected to a completely different object, and then collect a lot of information out of that, right? So for example, it could be a very simple object like a chair. Say I have my chair in the office and I want to know that for what number of hours this chair is being utilized, and what type of usage pattern is there with this particular object. And also I want to locate that particular chair in my entire office. If I want to do that, then I can construct a small digital device which can be connected right into the frame of the chair, and it can start communicating through internet or through any other medium and send information to and fro, and that's how it becomes a cyber physical system. Now, there are a couple of industries where a lot of IoT solutions are being developed. One of them is the automobile industry. We all have heard about projects like Google Car and Tesla, where we have seen that these companies are putting millions of dollars into research and development for making publicly acceptable self-driving vehicle, which could be put into picture in next few years, so that there are no scope of any human errors while driving, and it will be completely automated system. Of course, to build this kind of system, a lot of effort is required from different companies as well. So everyone is into this kind of a scenario in automobile industry. It is said that by 2012, it was only 10% of the vehicles, 15% of the vehicles which were connected to internet in some way or the other. But now in the recent survey, it was stated that by 2020, almost 80 to 90% of the vehicles will be IoT devices. They all will be IoT equipments connected inside those vehicles, and that is going to be very useful, because when you're going to translate a normal vehicle into an IoT equipped vehicle, then a lot of solutions can be implemented, such as smart driving assistance. Then there could be cloud-based infotainment solutions which understand your needs and only play the music or content which you like from time to time, and also guide you to your day-to-day locations. You can have automated emergency management systems, where in case if your vehicle goes through some kind of accident, then it can automatically start providing you some kind of assistance, and also inform the backend so that people can send you help. And similarly, you have a lot of other solutions like optimized logistics, driver safety mechanisms, and things like that, which could be a part of automobile industry. Another industry which is investing a huge amount is healthcare. So with healthcare, there are lots and lots of applications which are coming up. And as we know, this is an industry where everyone would like to invest, everyone would like to have a better health. And that's why there are too many applications and too much improvement which is happening in healthcare industries nowadays. So even we are working on a healthcare robotics application called MITSI, which we recently presented in the IoT show, which happened a few days back as a part of India Electronics Week, where that application as a whole is a robot. It's a 5 feet tall robot, and it is capable to read the blood reports, analyze the blood reports, and then basically take a decision on what could be your next step. Apart from that, it also has some kind of sensors which supports photoplasmography, and it then gives a lot of information related to your heart rate and oxygen levels in your body, and it is non-intrusive. And it also acts as a smart assistant for any doctors if they really want to search in any kind of reference material on the go. So this is one of the project what we are working on. It's a long-term project which we are planning to put into production somewhere by 2020. But if you talk about the overall healthcare industry, there are a lot of other solutions as well, which includes remote monitoring of patients' health. So nowadays there are a lot of smartwatches and Fitbits which are wearables and which are easily available in the market. All of these could potentially capture a lot of information and constantly send it to the backend, so that we can analyze the health status of it could be patients, or it could be people who are at home, right? So there could be a situation where you have some elderly patients who are at home, and you just want to keep a track over their health, if everything is working fine or not. And let's say that if their heart rate becomes abnormal, or if the sugar levels got abnormal, or maybe the oxygen levels in the body gets abnormal, anything, any kind of value which has to be within a certain range. If it goes beyond the threshold, then it could send you a notification and also help you to call up for some emergency healthcare assistance. And not only this, a lot of data analytics, which is done by using these IoT devices, is also helpful at a later on stage to perform a lot of big data analysis. And it can be helpful to find out some kind of facts and figures, which is very useful in maybe designing some kind of a remedy plan for a certain type of a certain type of a disease which is very difficult to manage. And that's why IBM Watson also recently created some kind of an AI service for oncology, that is cancer scenarios. And they used to process a lot of cancer related information and find out a lot of information from that. Now, that is of course big data and AI, but IoT as a whole is going to take care of all the device side connectivities, network connectivities, device management, data translation, real-time analytics. All these things are handled as a part of the IoT solution. Another industry is the agriculture industry. So the sensor based resources which are useful to understand what's the humidity and the salinity levels of the soil is very, very useful nowadays. And a lot of automated irrigation projects are also coming into picture. So previously we just used to simply have a schedule that every day in the morning, or maybe every 5 days, or whatever is the type of farming the person is doing. Based on that, he used to think of providing water to his field at a regular interval. But then now, with the use of technology, we can constantly keep a check at the humidity level of the soil, and we can also collect other information like temperature and air composition and things like that, which can help the farmers to take a better decision of when and how to water their fields, and what type of other resources like fertilizers and stuff like that which they can go ahead and implant. This will not only help to save a lot of cost, but also gives you optimized results. So that is something which is very, very useful. And apart from that, a lot of farming which is done at a very high production level have complicated equipments which could also be monitored remotely. And that's why agriculture industry is also one of the top industries in the line investing for IoT. And then of course we have manufacturing industry, which is always top in the line, where IoT is very beneficial. It is because now the factory owners and the production managers could sit anywhere in the world and still have a very clear view and a control access on top of the machinery level, and that is something which is very useful, right? And there is a topic which is becoming very famous in the world of IoT, not only in the manufacturing industry, but in healthcare, automobiles, everywhere. So that is called as predictive maintenance. So predictive maintenance is a very hot solution in IoT. When I say predictive maintenance, it is nothing but the combination of IoT and AI together. So let's say that there is a certain machinery which is very complicated, and only few experts in the world who are one of the manufacturers of that system can really understand why a certain type of problem exists and when this problem could come up, right? Now we know that in a production line, especially in production systems which works for 24/7, we don't have a lot of scope for maintenance. We don't have a lot of scope to stop the systems, repair them, and again bring them online, because if one of the systems stops working, it is equivalent to wasting a certain amount of time which is directly proportional to some amount of money in the industry. So when we put some kind of IoT devices which senses the environment or senses the situations which could potentially go ahead and crash down the machinery, and then all this data, if it could be sent to the AI model, the AI model could constantly learn, and with time it can understand just based on the data that there are certain symptoms which are coming up. And before that machinery could crash entirely or one of the component could fail, they could well in advance shut down the machine, replace the component, and once again start the production line. And this could be done in much lesser time in comparison to facing a failure and then retrieving a lot of things and putting production back to the line. So predictive maintenance is very useful. So a lot of technologies like IoT gateway, edge analytics, workforce tracking, all these solutions are nowadays becoming a part of manufacturing industry. By the way, if you have any questions, please go ahead and put down your questions in the chat box, and I will be getting back to you once we are done with the presentation. All right, so let's talk about the job trends. So we also have done a lot of market research for IoT, and we have found out that there are lots and lots of companies which are involved in IoT, right? But few companies have started, working with IoT at a very, very negligible level or very small level, and then there are certain companies which have been doing it since some point of time and which are known as technology experts. So you can see this is just a list of some 20 companies, and this is again the data for India. Okay, very specifically, this is data for India. These are the companies which have existence in India and they are doing some kind of work with IoT. And now and then they come up with some kind of openings with IoT. These are some of the positions which are usually found for that. So we have positions like IoT specialists, technical IoT heads, IoT solution architects, developers, then test analysts, tech leads, directors, and IoT technical sales. So if you can see here, we have the IoT profiles which are available in from business perspective as well as from the technology perspective, and every company has some or the other kind of profile, and that's why they have given some kind of designation. But a lot of companies are looking out for people who have very good understanding with IoT as a whole, and that is something which will help you to gain a lot of advantage. So I always say that this is the right time for anyone to get inside the IoT field and learn this technology, develop something of your own, and either help your organization to reach at the next level, or you can also go ahead and become a product developer yourself. You can do a lot of things. And as far as career is concerned, if you are going to invest your time and money at this point of time to learn these technologies, it is definitely going to give you the advantage for the next 5 to 10 years. And you don't need to worry about any new technologies coming in and snatching away your job if you are engaged in a very repetitive job, right? It happens. Like, for example, there was a need of network engineers, a lot of network engineers at some point of time, but now that need is drastically decreasing if those network engineers doesn't have any special characteristics or knowledge set which can leverage the networking technology at this point of time. Because we saw that we found out the cloud computing technology, right? Now, when we talk about cloud computing, we know that a lot of organizations started shifting their workloads to cloud, and still that era is going on. It's like cloud computing is still going to be super hot technology at least for the next 3 to 5 years, where the transition process will still keep on working. And once things are moving to cloud, less amount of infrastructure is available on premises for all the companies. And the result is that a lot of hardware and network engineer opportunities are out of picture now. So basically, with time, as IoT and AI will develop, there will be a lot of jobs like where where it will be a very repetitive kind of task. You don't have to prove your skill, right? You're not developing a solution, you're not designing a solution, you're not understanding the overall solution, and because of which you cannot administer that kind of infrastructure or environment, then you are not going to be a very useful resource for any company going ahead. And that's why it's always good to go for IoT. And the best thing is that there will be a lot of opportunities because uh, it's not only the IT sector, but rather we are translating the IT to IoT kind of scenario. And there are lots and lots of sectors like manufacturing, healthcare, automobiles, retail, supply chain, aviation, sports science, home automation, agriculture, and many more, which are getting involved into this. And that's why it's a golden career opportunity at this point of time. These are a couple of IT skill sets which could be leveraged along with IoT. So if you are already a part of these fields like business intelligence, information security, UI UX designing, mobile app development, hardware electronics engineering, networking, or if you are developers, any of the thing if you're doing, then you are in the right direction. It's just that you have to leverage this and get inside the IoT field, learn a lot of other technologies as well, and then see for yourself how you can take advantage of your existing knowledge and help to bring some kind of change in the existing process what you're following. The most in-demand skills at this point of time are also listed over here. So there are things like PCB circuit design, programming in microcontroller, 3D designing, machine learning, security infrastructure, big data analysis, security engineering. Once again, programming, especially in Python and Node.js, is very useful. And some of the GPS-based development. These are the skills which we have found through our market research, which are very useful. Out of which we take care of programming in microcontroller, machine learning, security infrastructure, big data analysis, security engineering. Till certain extent, we deal with programming in Python and Node.js as well. And a lot of things is what we are already doing. And that's why we could be one of the best people who can guide you for your career enhancement. Always remember that you will require these 5 qualities if you want to be successful in IoT. Of course, the very first thing is creativity, because the only reason of bringing all these technologies together on the same platform is to come out with some kind of a solution which was not in existence before, and now we are designing something new. So there will always be a scope of innovation, and you will be able to innovate, or you will be able to enhance the innovation skill of an overall operational team to which you are connecting only if you have creativity inside you. Second thing is the curiosity to explore. So IoT is a very vast field. We also know that it's a multidisciplinary field. So you cannot just stick to your own concept. You cannot just stick to your own skill. You might be a very good programmer, but if you don't have any understanding of how fundamentally how some kind of electronics work, or how networking works, or how you're going to interface your resources to web applications, and how your mobile apps are going to work, or how sensors are going to function, then it's not going to be very useful. So you have to read more and more, and you have to be very curious to explore. So whenever you get any new term or new concept, it's always good to Google it out, read about it, and increase your knowledge base with time. Third thing is the ability to integrate. So integration is the beauty in IoT. right? A chair, I just give you an example of a simple chair or a car or a human being maybe. We connect some kind of system to it, and then there is a huge channel which starts flowing from that point till some kind of an action board where we are able to take some kind of a decision. So just imagine how long this chain will be. You will be doing so many things inside that. So what I'm specifically talking about is the Lambda architecture. So one of the biggest thing what we do in IoT trainings is we build the skill for anyone to understand and build the Lambda architecture. So when I say Lambda architecture, it means it is the data processing data processing principle which we follow, where information is flowing from one component to another, and that's where the overall integration happens between different components like web applications, artificial intelligence or machine learning models, and some kind of dashboards and human machine interfaces and sensors and all these things. So you need to understand how I'm going to interface or integrate one component to another by utilizing the sources which are available. And the last two is patience and focus, which is of course required here. So IoT is new. When you start learning this, you'll be overwhelmed with a lot of things. But then you have to be very patient and learn things slowly and steadily. You have to spend time and you have to be patient till the time you're going to get that peak of advantage, because right now the scenario is that the country is still developing in terms of these technologies and it will take some time, but the people who are going to be engaged in these technologies at this very early stage are the ones who are going to be having a lot of advantages in future. So you have to be patient and you have to keep on focusing on your final objective, which could be maybe to excel in the IoT technologies so that you can direct some kind of a business, or maybe if you want to become a very good IoT based application developer, or if you want to become a solution architect, whatever is your objective, you have to be very patient and focus towards the same. All right, so these are the 5 steps to begin your journey in IoT. So from my end, I'm giving you a set of 5 steps which could be very useful. Step number 1, analyze your skills and determine your operational technology or domain. So first thing, you have to understand what you already know. You have to understand what you already have in you. If you are a developer, superb. Now the next step is to think about how you're going to leverage the skills in IoT. If you are a networking engineer and you have a very good understanding of how protocol stack works and how network connectivity works, how routing switching works, then it's great. You can still think about your career enhancement in terms of fog computing, which is a part of the IoT stack. If you are a cybersecurity expert, you have tons of opportunities. If you are a business analyst, or if you are someone who is doing some kind of data analyst work, or if you are into database technologies, then great. You can have expertise into NoSQL technologies, learn multiple NoSQL technologies along with some of the IoT technology, and then become data science expert in the IoT field. So you have to analyze what you have, what type of skills you have, and then you have to move ahead. Step 2 is to get used to the ecosystem of overall IoT systems. And if you're not a programmer, then build some programming skills. Many times a very compulsory skill in IoT. So I can't say no completely, but you don't have to be an expert programmer if you want to be in IoT. Only if you're going to be an IoT developer, then of course you will need a very good skill. But if you are going to be an IoT architect, or if you're going to be someone who is only going to handle a small portion in the overall operations, then you don't need it. But it's always good to start learning programming, because sooner or later you will find a lot of advantages of that. Step 3, so professionals who already have a very good understanding in IoT, And this will save a lot of time, energy, money, effort, everything together. Here at CloudThat, we have performed research on multiple things and developed the core skill of IoT after spending a lot of money, spending a lot of effort, and involving a lot of talent from the country. And then we come up with a lot of solutions, then come up with training service, and also started building some products. So all done, we are, we are literally decorating all the important components to you when we say that we are providing IoT training to you, because we are not going to go through this rigorous training process what we provide, then it will take a very long period of time for you to understand all these things on your own yourself. Step 4, once you're trained, get in the practice of making some useful proof of concepts and try to integrate them in the ecosystem of your domain. So selection of domain is very important. You select for yourself, you can select a domain. If you like healthcare and if you have some understanding and background into it, you can select that domain. If automobiles is the sector, you can select that. If consumer appliance or home automation is something you like, go for it. Select any one domain in which you think I have a better understanding, better knowledge, and I also have an interest, and then start routing all your knowledge towards that domain and think what you can do in that, come up with new ideas and create your own proof of concepts on papers and then slowly translate them in your labs. And then finally make your presence felt on social media, and all the technical communities will start looking you as an IoT skilled veteran in your own domain or operational technology. And trust me, if you do all these things, if you be very active on the social media and technical communities, spreading awareness about IoT, putting forward your ideas, and maybe writing some articles about what you have learned, what you have done so far, and you keep in touch with that. And I'm very sure that if you follow these steps, at one fine day you will be getting a very good position somewhere, and your job, your career will be secure. And on top of that, you will love to do this because this is all about innovation, and the kind of respect what you will get, the kind of financial advantage what you will get is something which is unmatchable. So that's all I wanted to discuss. That's all I wanted to discuss in this presentation. And Mirzad would like to speak something about the courses what we have.
Okay, thank you Arzan for sharing such valuable information on IoT. I hope everyone enjoyed the session. I would just have one request. Could you all please just fill in the feedback form that we've added in the chat box so that I can personally get in touch with you and explain all the courses we have to offer. So we basically have 4 levels of IoT. So we start with fundamentals of IoT and we'll go all the way up to the designing and implementation stage. This year we've also introduced another certification based training course, which is GA Predicts. It's an IIoT platform. So please fill in your feedback form so that I can get in touch with you and explain all these courses in detail. Now, as a token of our appreciation, we've decided to offer a 10% cashback on the training fee of any of our IoT courses to all the attendees for this webinar, provided you register before 2 p.m. on 16th, which is tomorrow. So we'll give you 24 hours. So within 24 hours, if you register, you can avail this 10% cashback on our training fee. Now let's get the Q&A session started.
All right, guys, so now I'm waiting for your questions. If you have any kind of questions which you want to ask, please go ahead. Okay, Rajendra Bise has a set of questions which I can see here. All right, so I will try and answer them. What are the prospectus for IoT in next 2 to 3 years? Do we see immediate benefits for IoT skills? All right, that's a good question. So as I said, Rajendra, that this is the time which is available with you so that you can learn, you can do your research, and you can build your skills. And within next 2 years, I'm damn sure there will be a lot of opportunities which will be coming. That doesn't mean that we don't have existing opportunities. We have it, but then there are very less opportunities. But then to see IoT as a boom in career opportunity as well, it is definitely going to take some point of time. And this point, this time, what you have at this in this period is very useful for you to go ahead and learn a lot of things, and then yep, you can take a lot of advantage. Now that completely depends on how much time you are investing, what is your existing knowledge base, and how good you want to or how well you want to prepare for your career. If you are really becoming an IoT expert in some point of time, then you can also avail the benefits immediately. Next question is, what platforms are available today for data processing? So for the overall Lambda architecture, which is responsible for managing devices, performing data ingestion, doing real-time analytics on the data, storing that data, dashboarding, AI, for doing all these things, we have a couple of cloud computing platforms available. And one of the top platforms are Azure, AWS, Google, Gpredix, ThingWorks, ThingSpeak. These are some of the platforms which are used. We heavily invest in Microsoft Azure, AWS, and Google, which are the top 3 clouds. What components are critical with respect to cloud for IoT? So all the services of cloud could be useful in some or the other way as a part of your solution. And in IoT market, there are different vendors. Some will be for electronics, some will be for sensors, some will be for networking, some will be for routing, switching, IoT gateways. So there are different vendors. So there are 50 different fields, and there are 50 different dimensions where you can see a lot of vendors. So we cannot say that there is any one vendor which is leading the IoT market. Yes, Mohammed, please go with your question. So Mohammed, as I can see, you have Unix expertise with you at this point of time. And as you know that going ahead, any kind of digital solution what we will have, especially the one which is microprocessor based, they all will be utilizing Unix and Linux kind of systems. And if you can start maybe researching on the RTOS, that is a real-time operating system, which are all built up on Linux and Unix, and gain some expertise on top of that by running Linux on top of credit card size machines, then that is something which can be very useful. And as a cloud, cloud is just going to provide you the platform, so you can go with any cloud at this point of time. But in terms of job opportunities as well as benefits of solution, it's a very well-known fact. You can always go with Microsoft Azure and AWS initially, and maybe later on you can get into some other clouds. But the clouds what you have mentioned over here, I couldn't see a lot of momentum with these clouds at this point of time. Yes, Amit, it will definitely give you a lot of advantage if you have electronics engineering as your base. Yes, Ashfaq, if you're a .NET developer, or rather any kind of developer, it is always great to be a part of IoT, because one of the biggest chunk of people which will be required in IoT will be developers all the time. And yes, Mohammed, you can walk with IoT in any use case. It can be anything. So if you're planning to use OpenStack, that's perfectly fine. It might be useful for many of the vendors who are trying to develop their own IoT platforms on top of some open source platform like OpenStack. So definitely there will be less people involved in this technology, but of course it will be useful till a great extent. Okay, it's a good question, Ashfaq. Should I learn cloud before IoT? So IoT is as I said, right? It's amalgamation of technologies. Cloud is a component which you can definitely leverage, but it's not necessary for you to go through an entire set of cloud computing training to learn IoT. The kind of courses what we are presenting will be will be helping you to go through that entire span of services on cloud which we're going to use for IoT. But of course, if you want to become an expert solution architect at some point of time, then it's advisable to go for cloud, IoT, AI, analytics, a couple of niche technologies together. And then you can go through all 4 levels, and you will get all the necessary skills and knowledge which you require to be a developer. So Mohammed, I cannot share the slides because we are using this in a lot of other corporate programs as well. But Mirzad will definitely send you all the course details and the outlines and everything, so that you can very easily see what we are going to learn in that entire series. You can contact Mirzad for the same. I'm dropping down his number over here. Kindly call him up and he will be sending you details. All right, everyone. I hope that it was a useful session. And if you still have any more queries, you can drop down your queries at email ID which I'm mentioning here. That's mirzad@cloudthat.in. And you can also call him. I'll give him the number. So if you want to get in touch with Mirzad for getting any details on the training plans and how exactly we deal with the trainings, you can go ahead and contact him. Mirzad, it's all up to you now. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you everyone for attending the session. Thank you, Arzan.
Thank you, everyone.
So, yeah.